And so today we're going to focus on the beautiful renovated Opera House, the Emmaus Center in Brooklyn, New York, where my friend Craig Syracusa has been working very much as a TV host for Walk in Faith. He is an amazing human. He gives back to the community. He is a man of faith, a family man. So we're going to bring him over here to the show. And also Christopher Macchio will be joining us here in a few minutes. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. I should have worn my Christmas suit. I have a really nice Christmas suit. But,
well, I had to get dressed up today. I get dressed up every day for the show, but since I will not be able to be with you guys on December the 13th, which I wish I could, I had to just get in the spirit for the holiday season. I'm so glad to have you. How are you and your family? How was Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was great. We have a new baby in the family. Luke is my sister-in-law, my wife's sister. They weren't able to come because of, fear of catching some sort of COVID or this new variant going around, but we were able to just at least see them prior to Thanksgiving and be with the family. So we're looking forward to Christmas. I've been decorating, and this is my favorite time of the year. Anyone that knows me personally knows how much I get into the Christmas spirit. So I love the season. I love the Christmas season.
Well, you have been such a good friend to my professional career and also to our family. And I remember last year we were talking and we were comparing notes on those who were decorating their homes and decorating for the holiday season. People were getting a head start.
Mm-hmm.
As we were coming out of the COVID pandemic, people were looking for joy, for some kind of peace, for some kind of normalcy, if you will. And I love the fact that we were comparing notes on Jersey compared to North Carolina. My stuff's out November 1st. I know my neighbors do not like me, but that is okay. They know that I am Mrs. Christmas and we're bringing Christmas joy to the holiday season and to our communities and families. So I'm excited. Tell me about what is happening at the beautiful Opera House, the renovations, the Emmaus Center. Talk to me about what's going on and what's coming down the pike, and where can we watch and be participating, and talk to me all about that. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you. So the Emmaus Center, which is the original opera house in the New York area, is built in the early mid 1800s and was recently renovated. And we opened last year. We actually opened during COVID, but last year was our first show. It was Matt Maher, which was our first concert, which was great. But then there was this new variant and we had new protocols in place. But now we're fully open and functioning. And we have an amazing concert coming up on the 13th of December with Chris Macchio and some of his friends. It's going to be really an amazing show with so many legendary performers. And then the next day we have another show with the Connolly sisters, and Chris Macchio is also going to be performing.
Fabulous.
We have, between now and then, we have so many candlelight concerts, Charlie Brown Christmas, and we have so many events between now and right before, I'd say, the 20th of December. And then January 5th, 6th, we start again with the Winter Jazz Festival, which is huge for us. We have more candlelight shows. I mean, we've been blessed. I mean, we get a lot of calls, and we're really there to bring people to the space, to evangelize, to really ignite that community through the arts, through music, through different events. We have events coming up and conferences, but the message is to bring people to Christ through the arts, and that's the mission of the space. Some of the events are more gauged towards community outreach because unfortunately some people aren't ready to enter a church, or maybe they feel uncomfortable, or they have issues just going to church. So we try to bring them in through music, entertainment. And then we all pray that the Holy Spirit speaks to them in some way. And they start to question, why did I stop going to church? Or, why do I have issues with the church? And that brings them back to church. And that's why we host these events at this space, is really to bring people to Christ.
No, I absolutely love that. I mean, this show is all about faith. It's all about conservative politics, but it's also about faith, and they also intertwine. And I think people sometimes separate those lines. And having been in politics, but as a public servant, my faith has been at the very forefront. And we need to really talk about our faith, whether it's in the arts or whether it's in our industry. I know Tim Keller, a famous pastor from New York, always talks about faith in the public square and how we can impact our communities and our backyards through our vocations. Let me ask you this. Talk to me about the event on December the 13th. I'm going to put this up here, Futures in Education. I was looking at their amazing website. Talk to me about this concert. Is it fully benefiting this organization? Talk to me about the organization.
Yeah, so Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello, who is the vicar of the Emmaus Center, as well as Futures in Education, the FDNY chaplain. I mean, his resume is huge. The amount of work that he takes on, but Futures in Education gives Catholic education to anyone that's interested in attending a Catholic school that makes below a certain amount of money, and they have people that would sponsor them. They're called angels, and the concert will support that and give scholarships to kids that want to attend a Catholic school throughout the Diocese of Brooklyn. It's a wonderful organization. I mean, I've been a part of some of their events, and to see the kids and the impact that these angels make, it's so inspiring to hear their stories. There's one story that sticks out, and I didn't realize this till I had a young son. And I'll tell you, when he goes to Catholic school, St. Leo's in Lincroft, and I'm excited when they take the money out of my account. And this woman, I'll never forget, when I was doing a story, she lived in a car, and just so she could send her son to Catholic school. And I didn't understand that until I had a young child. And now to see the way some of the public school systems and the way they indoctrinate our children, I understand why it's so important to give them a Catholic or a Christian education, an education based around the principles of Jesus Christ, that I would do anything to send my son to a school that teaches the principles of Christ. I mean, so I understand that. So to see and be a part of Futures in Education and how important the impact they make on these kids. I mean, the statistics are outstanding to see that they graduate from college, they go on to higher education and the jobs and the careers that they get, but the impact that they make throughout the community and society is just, so to be a part of that and to help them, this concert is way more than just, entertaining people. It's more about, showing people the importance of Catholic education, Futures in Education, and just, what it means to be an angel to really help and support some of these kids and families.
Well, that's a perfect segue into the fact that yesterday was Giving Tuesday. But as I've been saying to my audience and my viewers, that Giving Tuesday isn't just one day, it's throughout the whole year. And I also see that Christopher Macchio just joined us, so I'm going to bring him over to the stream. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the party. I was hoping you were going to join.
Absolutely. I just got mixed up with some of the links, but I figured it out.
That's my fault. I did something yesterday, and I said to my husband, "Oh, shoot, I put the wrong date. I have got to go set this up. I'll be right back." And he was like, "What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?" I'm like, "Just let me get my space back here." So I apologize.
Of course.
I'm so glad
no worries
that
at all.
you are here. I'm so glad that you're here. Merry Christmas. Welcome to our Christmas party. Since I can't be with you for the event in Brooklyn, I decided to get all ready for the Christmas, and we're having our own little Christmas party.
Yeah, you've got that place decked out. That's great.
Yeah, Craig is very aware that I start decorating and everything goes up November 1st.
Oh, wow.
Even
before Thanksgiving. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
That's how they do it in Europe. I was over in Paris, on Halloween, and the very next day, All Saints Day, that's when they start putting up all of the Christmas decorations. So.
Well, I said to Craig earlier, we had talked about this about a year or so ago. It was coming out of COVID, and people were just looking for something normal, peace, hope, joy. And I said, you know what? Let's just break it out. And I'm just going to make the new tradition and just start doing it earlier.
Oh, that's great.
And that's the thing. We minister to our community, our neighborhood. This weekend, we're doing Lights of Love for our local hospice, which involves our local high school students, and our whole neighborhood decks out. People drive through. It's a drive-through Christmas light celebration. And so, that's something very important here at the local level. But when I see what you guys are doing, we were just talking about this amazing concert on the December 13th. And I was just about to ask Craig about the performers. Can you talk to me about some of the performers that are going to be there to benefit these amazing kids?
So I really wanted to have a cross section of performers that really would have a wide appeal for different ages, different demographics. And so Craig and I put our heads together, and we came up with a wonderful list of people. We've got for the older generation, we've got Al Jardine, who is one of the original founding members of the Beach Boys. So he's going to be doing some Christmas songs, and then. For the people that are closer to he and I's age, we've got Peebo Bryson, who won the Grammy Awards for A Whole New
Yes.
World from Aladdin and for Beauty and the Beast. Back when Disney actually made children-friendly content.
Yes,
And,
yes. We can go on that one too if you want. I'll rant all day long on that one.
Back in the day when things were innocent, like when I was growing up, and then for the younger folks, we've got Haley Reinhardt, who was the finalist in for American Idol, and she's got a huge following. So we've got a nice cross section of demographics, and then I've got the privilege of performing duets with all of these groups and kind of tying the whole program together with like a classical crossover, Andrea Bocelli type of vibe for what I'm doing. So all in all, it's going to be the biggest, best show that the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens has ever pulled off. And of course, it couldn't happen without the work of people like Craig, Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello, Monsignor Casada, and a bunch of other people, Futures in Education, just a bunch of other people that really have been working around the clock to make this thing a tremendous success.
Well, let me ask you this. Since I cannot make it up, is it going to be live streamed, or is there a way people can watch it after it has taken place?
I'm not sure.
We're working on that now.
We might give you a private link because we don't want any free riders on the screen.
We're working on that right now. We might.
We're trying
to work out the kinks.
At the end of the day, we do need to raise money, and the whole purpose of this, of course, at the end is also to bring people to Christ. We are, the diocese does like to promote the slogan "Keep Christ in Christmas," and I think that's a really important ethos to be adhered to. So we are trying to reach out to the community, so there may be a way that certain folks that just absolutely cannot, come in, attend the show in person, will be able to participate. But ultimately, we want to draw people physically into the building and create a space that people can experience the arts, especially the refined, performing arts, in a way that resonates, and consistently with Christian and Catholic values, and allows them the forum and the opportunity to rediscover their religious roots and to embrace Christ more fully into their lives.
Yeah, amen to that. I've had friends from Jersey and then friends from down here who were transplanted to North Carolina said to me yesterday, one in particular who's from Jersey and who's headed back to Jersey today. She called me and she's like, "Where are you getting all of these amazing guests for your show?" She said, "We watch it daily and we absolutely love it." I said, "It's because of people like you." I said, "I have such amazing friends and family who are of faith in New York and New Jersey from my years being in New York and my time growing up in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and also to DC. I will not, discredit DC and working for Trump. But the reason why I say that is because those who have followed this show going on now 4 months, and I'm grateful for your support, their foundation is Christ. And they know that that's where I stand at the very forefront. So I will preach the gospel. And I will tell you that Facebook, as soon as we started talking about that, they put a halt on the show right now. And so, it comes down to what I'm going to go a little political for a second, what DeSantis said yesterday. And that is, I don't know if you heard his amazing speech. I wish he was our president. No offense to Trump. Love my boss. Love my old boss. But DeSantis.
Listen, Al, either way, he's going to have his turn either way. And I think we're going to be all in for a nice treat whenever that does happen.
Maybe that'll be our new Christmas present for the next couple of years, But there was something to my point, though, DeSantis mentioned something yesterday about the censorship, and I'm seeing it right now happen. As we talk about our faith, as we talk about our beloved children, as we are talking about protecting them from what is happening in our culture, as we are talking about protecting the sanctity of life, all of those things that are so important to our faith from the Catholic and Christian aspects, we are continuing to be censored. And that's why I love bringing people like you guys to the show, because we are activating that. We are still raising that flag. We are engaging in the public square and standing up for our faith. And that means so much to me, more than anything. And as I'm like I did an earlier rant, and Craig heard it for a hot second, because the Marriage Act went through the Senate last night. Yeah, I saw your eyes roll. And Senator Mike Lee, if you guys have a chance, go and check out his speech on the Senate floor. Yes, it was on C-SPAN. Yes, it can go long, but there were some very fine points in there as to what is going to happen.
He's a great guy.
Yes, he's
a great guy. I actually met him at Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, you did?
A couple of months ago. Yeah. And he was, talking about his book, and he's great. He's great. And it's really crazy. I hope, by the way, you encourage all your listeners to get rid of their Balenciaga. Okay.
Well,
because I don't know if you heard about that fashion house.
I did hear about it.
With the so I think people need to stand up and really just object, forcefully to this kind of kind of thing. It's just it's so upside down against our values.
It is.
But I'm glad that he stepped up and at least put that amendment forth, even though there were some rhinos who allowed this.
Oh, yeah. One of them was my senator from North Carolina. I have no idea what he actually does in the office, Tom Tillis. And then two were two combat veterans I used to work with and work for, Senator Joni Ernst and Todd Young. And Iowa, Indiana, obviously, when they went back home for Thanksgiving, it did not connect the dots, how it was going to be affecting their constituents.
Right.
So, but anyway, this is Christmas Features. We'll go back to talking Christmas. Because I love what you guys are doing at the Emmaus Center. So let's talk more about that. So before you came over, Chris, we were talking about Futures in Education, and I was looking at the website, and I noticed that other events you have done in the past really have focused on Futures in Education. Talk to me about, is there a personal story for you with this organization? How did they come to be in your space, and what has really impacted you? Craig had shared earlier about some of the personal stories that really impacted him.
Well, I did not have the privilege of attending Catholic school myself. And I can say that just kind of, being the product of a more secular education, you kind of get a sense that something is missing. And the schools are actually, for the last, let's say, 80, 100 years, have been ground zero for, whatever word you want to use, brainwashing, or the kind of undermining some of the cohesion, some of the cultural values that have formed the bedrock of not only United States and American culture, but Western civilization itself. And whether one is a conspiracy theorist and it's whether it's more purposeful or whether it's just by accident or happenstance, the fact is that these kinds of religious education, the kind of Catholic education that is provided by the diocese in New York and in Brooklyn and Queens, it's essential to buttress and burnish those religious, those sacred values in the student body. And I was asked years ago to come in and start, performing for various events and just kind of add a little something to these events. Sometimes they end up, a couple of months ago, I think 6 weeks ago, we were at Cipriani. We raised $2.5 million that night, just with one dinner. And that money all goes to support, the underprivileged being able to attend and benefit from this kind of education, and that community in particular, even more than some others, because sometimes there's a concept in education pedagogy, they call it in loco parentis, where during the day the teacher is actually a surrogate parent, and during that period of the day they're responsible for inculcating and imbuing the right values into the students. And we feel that having a Catholic education is an important part of a child's day, and being imbued with those values that we all hold so sacred, so near and dear to our hearts.
Well, I had looked at their website, Futures in Education. I have it going across the screen. And, one of the testimonies, I want to read this really quickly to you if I can go back and find it. But it really talked about, actually, here it is. It is talking about the fact that a family was immediately the father was diagnosed with cancer. And the mother really wanted to make sure that their child had the best education possible. And it was because of the Angel program with the Futures in Education that made it happen for them. So after you guys depart, I will definitely be posting that YouTube clip that they have up there on the front page to share with my audience. I'll share it all over the place, because that there's something very special to what they are doing. Yesterday, I had on somebody who was local to the Eastern North Carolina area, and they were doing an angel adoption for children as well. And they said the numbers are higher than last year. And so I wonder, as we are heading into this holiday season and into the 2023 projected budgets and what's ahead, I wonder if Futures in Education are needing it even more, with what is happening financially to our homes, our kitchen tables, what is happening to, can we even afford to put food on the table for these kids? So I want to make sure that we expose and share this as much as possible within our social networks. Where can we, with Giving Tuesday being yesterday, and like I said, I'm doing Giving Tuesday throughout the whole rest of the month. Where can we and the audience get more involved to help with the Emmaus Center, as you, Craig, are bringing more and more to the forefront? Your candlelight services, your Christian concerts. I know you had Matt Mayer. What can we get involved to help serve you and what you are doing? What are some ways to get involved?
So we are a not-for-profit. Monsignor Jamie and I and Chris we've been really trying to build this up, and it's emmausbrooklyn.org is where people can get more involved. And all the money that comes in goes right back to the community, whether it's through donations that we also donate to other not-for-profits, or we host events. We had a men's conference, we had a couple of heritage nights. We're actually working on a big conference coming up with Dr. Scott Hahn. So all of the money that comes in goes right out. I mean, there's no profit. There's no money in the bank. Whatever comes in goes out. So you can get involved through emmausbrooklyn.org. For Future in Education, you can always log on to their website, and you could also become an angel or make a donation. I mean, Chris and I also support Futures in Education. I mean, when I think about, to your point about myself or just parents that are struggling between putting food on the table or paying that bill for the Catholic education. And Monsignor Casado is a dear friend of Chris and I's. He said, anyone that ever calls him and says, I need help in terms of getting their son or daughter into Catholic school, he finds a way. And they do. They find a way. They don't turn anyone away. And it is very challenging in the New York area, especially, to continue to support the schools because it is very expensive. Just running the Opera House, I know personally how expensive it is and how the bills keep piling up. But we're there for the mission, and we know that God will provide. So we just keep moving forward and following what God has placed in our heart. So, but I would love for people to support us because it is challenging. I can tell you that personally.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it all privately funded, the Emmaus Center, or is there any kind of government funding at all?
As of now, we don't get any government funding. We get private donors, rentals. But I'll tell you, that is one of the most stressful things. And Chris, and I told him the other day, I don't share it with many people, but that is one of the most stressful thing I would say is the calls. But what I do is I think about it all the time, and the way, and in terms of being successful, let's just use that word so the people of the secular world understands. In order to be successful, you have to endure stress and anxiety. And I know that the more stress and anxiety that I endure, the further along I'm going to get. So when God gets me to the next stage in my life or career or within the Emmaus Center, I'll be able to endure the additional stress and anxiety. So I'm able to deal with that. But it is very stressful when contractors call. You can't pray away the bills. No. I mean, I can't tell American Express, we're a not-for-profit, they still want to be paid. So we need the support. We need the help from donors and people in the community to see that what we're doing is really bringing people to Christ in a neighborhood, in a community that really needs it. I mean, they need Jesus in that community more than any other community I've ever been in. Williamsburg needs Jesus.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to be doing is the next segment after you guys depart is Marcy Friesner, who I'm sending up your way to New York. She's an educator, a speaker. She's a pastor. She's a director of a learning pod, homeschooling learning pod, and she's also an author of His Child. And she's taking her 3 kids and they're going up to New York and they're going to serve at the Bowery Mission. And they also want to meet with you and come over to Brooklyn and serve where they can. So that's what I'm doing on this end. I'm going to get as many people up there. And I have been setting up my clients and friends who are coming to New York. We're going to put them in your direction for, whether it's them serving, whether it's them supporting, whatever, but we're going to get people in your direction, similar to the Bowery Mission. I've actually been collecting clothes for the Bowery Mission and shipping them up there. Are there ways is there anything specific that I can put a note out to people saying I'm collecting and I'm shipping? Is there anything that we can send your way? Is there anything that you guys need?
I mean, in terms of the space, no. I mean, it's just like 2 or 3 people that work there, including myself and when Chris volunteers. So it's contributions, financial contributions that allows us to continue to stay open and pay the bills.
Okay.
Any sort of contributions, it's all tax deductible is really what we need, or anyone that's willing to support us or host an event there.
Okay.
That's really that's what we need. And I know we're doing the right thing. I mean, it's something my convictions wake me up. I know what's in our heart, Chris's heart, Monsignor Jamie's heart. And I always quote, a friend of mine, never compromise. A simple quote, but I won't compromise our values. I won't give in. Even when the enemy tells me, you should do something else or there's never going to work out, we continue to move forward. And I just take it day by day. But we do need support financially in order to host these events that help bring people to Christ and evangelize.
Yeah, most definitely. And then, Chris, final questions to you. And then, Craig, I know you guys need to get going. I love your song, Oh Holy Night. I was listening to it this morning on your website and I posted that on the social media channels. Will you be performing that with any of the performers on December 13th?
Well, I will be performing that, but as a solo piece. And I've got a couple of duets in mind with the various people. And then we actually have it's a surprise, so I can't reveal what it is. But
I don't even know what it is.
Oh, you don't?
No. He doesn't. Craig likes to talk. So I said, you know what? Let me keep it a secret until that day. But it's going to be a really great number as a finale. Craig said, why are we renting 30 different microphones? I said, because everybody is going to be on stage at the same time. And singing wonderful.
Isn't that song worth the amount of money that it costs to rent tonight? If he would have told me the
He's
song,
like, can't you guys share microphones? I said, no, everybody, because we're going to have it be as big and as strong and as powerful a message as we can send to find, at the end of the concert. So it's going to be really beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
We're looking forward to this.
I cannot wait to hear about that. And I cannot wait to get my private stream if you guys have one for me. Thank you. And then a final question for you, Chris, as we end this segment. Were you at Mar-a-Lago when he announced?
No. For this announcement, I've been running around all over the country. I actually was still in France.
Okay.
When he made that announcement, but I'm very excited to see what lies ahead, and I think we've got people as you mentioned earlier, we've got people in the pipeline. So I think we're pretty much set for the next 12 years or so, as far as that, the next 14 years. So we're good. So I'm happy about that. I do want everybody, of course, to follow us on social media, on Instagram in particular.
Oh, yes.
The Emmaus Center, EMMA US Center for the space, and then Chris Macchio for myself. It's very important. This is what people look at when they want to decide if they want to do something at the Emmaus Center. It's all about the social media these days. So we're pushing that.
I will retweet this out, and I will also repost it on Instagram and tag you guys and everything.
At least you're not gonna. At least you're less likely to be suppressed on Twitter these days. I mean, that's a
I know.
blessing.
Thanks be to God for Elon Musk.
I find it difficult whenever I do my daily devotionals, yesterday especially, just getting it on, uploading it took almost a day to get a 3.5-minute reflection on Christ. It's if I post other things in a second, but you don't know how many times and whenever I try to boost anything that has to do with Christ, they deny it. I mean, they deny it. I mean, I know. It's unbelievable. But I just want to thank Chris Macchio. Chris Macchio, we know each other a long time. And as he's grown in his career, you can see his background. It looks like he's in some giant hotel room. But he's been beyond a friend. He's always there for the diocese, always there for me, comes to events with me, even though when we're supposed to meet with someone, they don't show up. But I want to thank him for supporting the diocese, supporting Christ, supporting the mission. And I appreciate that, Chris.
And thank you, Craig, for all that you've been doing. It takes, for both he and I, it does take a measure of sacrifice for us, all three of us, really, to do what we can to follow Christ and to to further these kinds of missions. You know, there are always easier paths, but as Craig alluded to, compromises in these areas cannot be made.
No,
we need to push forth with our values, 100%, no compromise.
Yeah, most definitely. And on that final note, you guys were phenomenal. I'm grateful for, Craig, your friendship. Thank you for being such a support to my career and this show. Thank you for being a support to my run. Thank you for everything. And then Chris, welcome to the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
For being a new friend. Many blessings to you guys. I'll be praying for you guys. And I look forward to hearing updates and seeing images and really pushing you guys out on the social channels. So have a wonderful Christmas, you guys. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. God bless.
Looking forward. Merry Christmas.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And for all of those